All right, this is Deanna Marie, and welcome back here to the Clusie. And today we're going to be talking about how you need to make sure you're doing what he commanded you to do. Okay, so let's get started. All right, today's Bible
Today's
verse
Bible
is going to
verse
be
is going to
1
be 1
Samuel
Samuel
chapter
chapter
13,
13.
verse 13. Okay, so open up those Bibles, get in the Word, let God talk to you what he wants to talk to you about, pray, and do all of that good stuff. Okay, at this point in the Bible, King Saul, he's been chosen to be the first king to rule over Israel. And it's been around 2 years' time that he's been a king. And Samuel gave him some instructions at the beginning of his reign. He always said, wait 7 days, and then Samuel would show up, and Samuel's kind of the prophet, so he's supposed to do the sacrificing to God, and then the king's supposed to stay in his lane and not have anything to do with God over here, and he's just supposed to be getting instructions from the prophet and listening like that. Okay. At this point, they've been battling and stuff like that, and normally Samuel would get there, and they would be ready to do the sacrifice within 7 days. Okay. 7 days passes. Samuel is not there. Okay. Saul gets impatient and he makes the sacrifice himself, okay? And then the verse that I gave you is basically just to sum it up. God's like, you haven't done what I commanded you to do. I'm taking everything that I was going to give you and give it to someone else. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, Saul, in his heart, he wanted to be king of everything, right? This was like a little test. It was taking too long for the prophet to get there, but did Saul still respect God enough to wait? To wait for the instructions? Would he still do what God commanded him to do? He failed. And in all honesty, if you see the sacrifice would have been very important. That would have been something that, the prophets only did. Saul did that, which means he basically didn't have a lot of respect for the prophet. He didn't have respect for God. He basically just wanted, the people to think that God was following him because that's what everyone else wanted, right? And that's why God says, I got a man that's after my own heart. I'm going to make him commander of all of the people. I've already given him instructions because that's what was in his heart. And so if God's told you to do something and he's commanded you to do it and he's told you to do it, you need to keep doing it, and you need to be still, and you need to wait, and you wait, and you just keep doing the last thing that he told you to do. Because if you step out of line, right, this was Saul got like the whole kingdom stripped away from him basically, and then he had to watch David be built up, and that was part of his punishment. And then in the end, him and his family were going to be destroyed, right? You have Sarah and Abraham. They wanted to be impatient. They took a different girl, had her have a baby, and that was a sore an eyesore to look at in the household, and it created drama and chaos and all of this stuff that didn't need to be there. None of that stuff had to happen if they just listened, waited, and trusted God and just did what he commanded you to do. Like if he's telling you to be still and wait, I always tell you guys, that's like the hardest thing to do, is to wait. When you're just sitting there and you're like, okay, God's promised me this, but where is it? What's wrong? What's happening? Am I doing something wrong? Do I need to fix it? Do I need to do this? And that's what Saul's whole king reign. He was just making rash, emotional decisions most of the time. Oh, David's going to be king next. Let me go over here and try to kill him. Samuel's not showing up. I need to make the sacrifice here. Oh, the king, I was supposed to kill him, but I really like his stuff, and I think I can make a deal with him, so I'm going to do this because it was all like emotional decisions. Sometimes you have to take the emotions out of it and just think logically and listen and do what he's commanding you to do. If it's be still, you have to be still. Sit there. There's something that you could learn stuff in the obedience. Half the time it's just a test. He just wants to see if you're going to actually, can you sit still? Can you sit still? Or are you like the toddler that's like, oh, sit still, and then you leave the room, and the whole room, there's like a whole big mess by the time you come back in there, right? And if you've ever like babysat or worked at like a daycare or something, you know that if you leave the toddlers alone for 2 seconds, they're going to get into everything. There's all the toys, crayons, it's going to be everywhere. Don't be like that. If God says, hey, sit at this table, I'm preparing your meal, I'm preparing your feast, just sit there and wait. Sit there. Okay, because maybe it is a test. Maybe he's looking at you from the other side of the room and you're going to be the toddler taking out crayons, and then God's like has to go wipe off the walls and do all of that, clean it all up. Then he can get back to what you were going to do. You don't need to do all of that. Okay? If he says sit still or he's commanded you to do something, you do it until you get the next form of instructions. That's what he's saying to do. Okay? So make sure, especially if you're honored enough, if you're blessed enough that God's told you something like you're going to get married or this is going to be your career or whatever. 1, it's an honor to have the Almighty speak to you. Okay? 2, if he's told you those things, have the respect enough for him to listen, trust, believe that he's going to do it in his timing, and enjoy the waiting. I know there's always something good that you can see in it. Okay. It's not the best time of your life, but it's going to end. It's not forever. Okay. So anyways, like, share, and subscribe and comment as always. And I will see you guys back here next time.